Available at local plumbers merchants. For this section you'll require water pump pliers, a standard 5-inch adjustable spanner, a standard 12-inch adjustable spanner, a medium flathead screwdriver. The older type of common cistern used to come with a side flushing handle. This is the type of device that would be inside it. As you pull the flush, water is released. A siphon is caused and the cistern will flush. Cisterns have moved on since then. This is a side water inlet. We've removed the ball so you can see it. This is your standard float arm, stopping the water in there. You would need a large cistern to fit both of those in. Cisterns are now getting smaller and moving to parliamentary. This is a Tormeg equilibrium valve with a silencer tube on the side. It fills up from the bottom, so you can't hear it filling up with water. The float arm is there. Inside there is an equilibrium valve. The water pressure acts on the washer side, closing it off using the pressure available. The same thing is also available inside entry, smaller and smaller to allow for more cisterns. Water regulations now state that you're only allowed a 6-litre flush. The equilibrium valve has now progressed. This is the equilibrium valve. The valve system is now there at the top, and the lever principle has changed. Here is the float cup and the equilibrium valve at the top. This is built on the same principle. Float cup at the bottom and equilibrium valve at the top. Bottom fed, so the water also comes out from the bottom. Moving away from a standard flushing device, this is designed for push button. You press the button on top, it lifts a valve in the base, the water will release, holding the valve open till the water level drops. The valve closes once the water has gone, only allowing 6 litres of water to flush. All modern valves have a built-in overflow, so there is now no need to have an overflow running out of the side and out through the wall. If there is a problem, you might see a constant flow of water running down the back of the pan. Here's one of the simple versions again. It's designed for push button. From the top, the button comes down, the lever is lifted, and the same thing happens. The overflow is built down in the center of the system. This one is pneumatic. This is a piston with a tube between it, bellows, and a lifting arm. But the principle is exactly the same as the bottom. You press the cistern, it pushes air into the bellows, lifting the valve, again resulting in the same effect. Often these are placed against the wall or on the floor, or for people with disabilities who cannot turn around easily. It is advisable that you buy a complete set and follow the instructions. Before you attach the flushing system, if you look at the bottom, this is where the bottom water feed will go in. So we need to make sure the overflow pipe is facing the opposite side. We also need to make sure that the rubber washer is in place on the bottom of the cistern. Slot it in position and hand tighten the nut on the bottom. Make sure it's in position and then tighten with a spanner, making sure the rubber seal is nice and tight. We need to add the flushing system. First, we must remove the float arm so it does not get damaged. This simply just pops off. When you fit the overflow pipe, make sure you line it up properly so that when you connect the float arm back up, it has room to operate. Keeping the washer on the inside of the cistern, push it through the hole. Lay the cistern down and hand tighten the nut onto the bottom. Then use the large adjustable spanner to tighten, holding the cistern to make sure it doesn't turn. Now you need to add the float arm again, simply by popping it back into position. Move it around a few times to test that it operates freely. Now we're going to attach the cistern to the pan. You'll need the rubber donut washer and 2 fixing clamps with rubber sealing washers on. These will go through the cistern, through the 2 holes on the pan and clamp into position. If your instructions tell you to put the donut ring over the gap on the pan, do not do this, because when you lift the cistern into position, it's very easy for the ring to slip or move, and therefore the seal will not be fully secure, resulting in water spraying out of the back when you flush. So fit the donut ring on the cistern as shown. Then lift the cistern and line up with the hole. Then lower into position. Hold it in position and line up the two smaller holes where your fixing clamps will go. Slot the fixing screws through and hand tighten. Then take your flathead screwdriver and tighten from the inside of the cistern. To connect the WC to the main waste stack, you must fit the pipe in as shown. Making sure all rims are firmly in place, push the pan into position and the seal is created. This section will now talk you through how to install a bathroom suite using the techniques you've been shown before. Before you start working in the bathroom, you must turn the main water supply off. If you're in any doubt, you must locate the tap that looks like this. This is your mains inlet stop valve. If you turn this off, you will stop all water coming into your house. In the airing cupboard, there will be two 22mm gate valves. One is for the hot water, which comes from the cylinder. The other one is from the cold water tank. Turning both of these off will isolate the hot and cold water to the bathroom. You must determine the height of the bath panel. Any bath height is determined by the height of the panel that comes with the bath. Draw a corresponding mark on the wall. Because no floor is ever level, from the first mark, you use a spirit level. Once level with the mark, draw a line around the back of the wall, making sure it is level all the way around using a spirit level. This line is here to help determine where the supports will go to help support the bath. On the demonstrated floor, we have solid one-sheet plywood on top of the floorboards, so we don't need any support underneath. If, however, you're going to install the bath on top of floorboards, running horizontally under where the bath will be, then you need to help support the bath. Some baths come with wood already fixed in place, and the brackets to help fit it to the wall. If it is an older type bath, like the one in our demonstration, then you need to help support the weight of the bath. 1 litre of water weighs 1 kilogram, so a full bath, plus a person, plus the weight of the bath, is an incredible amount of pressure to put on the small surface area of the legs. Therefore, we need to help disperse that weight by spreading it across the floor and by supporting it on the wall. To do that, we drew this line to fix 2x2 battens along the back wall and at the opposite end to the taps. Do not fix a batten at the tap end, or you will not be able to fit the taps properly. This batten will help to support the weight between the wall and the floor. Always try to dress the bath before you put it into position. It makes it easier to get things lined up before you fit the bath in place. On the bottom of the taps is the rubber washer, or in some cases a small fibre washer, depending on how expensive the taps are. All the instructions will show you exactly how the taps are fitted. So, we feed the pipes through the holes, and the rubber washer will cause the seal. On the back, you must then put the back nuts on and hand tighten them. On screen is a tap spanner. One end is 3/4 inch for bath taps, and the other end is 1/2 inch for basin taps. Take a firm grip at one end. The other end turns around as demonstrated for tightening up, or if you take the end off and turn it around, it will loosen the joint. As demonstrated, it simply locks around the joint. Make sure the taps are firmly screwed in. We will now fit the bath wastage drain. As shown before, the rubber washer will go here and be centralised. Make sure the overflow points towards the back, in line with the taps. Now carefully put the plug hole over the top on the other side of the bath, and using your hand, start to screw it into place. Once the screw is joined enough to let go of the rubber washer, use your screwdriver to tighten the screw. Make sure the unit is centralized when tightening so that it doesn't move. The nut and the bolt are held together by plastic, so be careful not to over-tighten, or you may pull the bolt through the plastic. We will now attach the overflow. This goes on the outside, and the metal part goes on the inside. Meet the two together and hand tighten, and then add the overflow flexi pipe. Whilst the bath is in this position, we add the tap connectors because it makes it easier to get them tight. Once they're in position, make them nice and tight using an adjustable spanner. Finally, we fit our bath trap. Make sure the rubber washer is in position. Line it up with the waste drain. Hand tighten, making sure that the threads do not cross. This is most important because if you do get a cross thread, it will leak. The bath is now ready to go in place. The bath must be level in both planes. To do this, take one of the legs and use that as a dating point. We will level this leg with its opposite, and then level these two legs with the other two. On the bottom of each leg is a screw point, and inside these is a thread. So by tightening or loosening these threads, we can adjust the height of the leg. Using a spirit level, adjust these until the bath is level. Using plumber's mate putty, by rolling it in your hands, smear a very small amount onto the bottom of the taps and squeeze them into the sinkholes. Put the washers and the back nuts in. To make sure these are nice and tight, use a tap spanner again, or a box spanner, like the one here, which fits over the nut. Tighten as tight as you can and use a screwdriver or Tommy bar through the hole at the top to nip it tight. Then, using a screwdriver around the top of the taps, remove the excess putty gently. Add the putty around the underside of the wastage drain. Slot it into the sink, making sure the two wasted drains face back and front and not side to side, so they're in line with the overflow. Squeeze it in, add the washer on the other side, then the nut, and then tighten using an adjustable spanner. Remove any plumber's mate putty by using a screwdriver. The bolts are already in position. There are two types of basin you can get, some with brackets that come out of the wall and the sink then sits on the brackets. The sink is bolted to the wall and the pedestal supports the basin. With this one, you have a mushroom washer and a nut. The basin goes on the wall, the mushroom washer in that position, and then the nut will feed in behind it. Once in position, using your 5-inch adjustable spanner, tighten the nuts up. The holes at the back of the sink are big enough so that if you need to adjust the level of your sink, you can loosen the nut, move the sink into position, and then tighten them up again. These are pipe clips. Attach a screw and fix it to the wall. The center line is exactly where the screw edge should be. Once you've finished the job, close the top over and it will hold the pipe firmly in place. Always put your pipe clips in first, before you start to fix pipes together. Holding the pipes level as shown, mark directly above the pipe. We will now use our 22mm pipe cutter. This one is slightly different to the one shown before. The other one had a clamp over the top. On this model, you push the pipe in, leading with the rollers, and turn as shown. There is an arrow on the side to show this. Line up the center line with the mark you made on the pipe, and turn. Join the pipes using the joiner, and they will need to sit at the level shown. At this point, we need to fit a different fitting. This is similar to an elbow. It has a male and female end. Connect as shown, allowing you to twist so you can angle the pipe up or down. That's the start point as shown. The pipe is connected to the tap connector. This is the cold feed here, and this is the cold feed coming from the airing cupboard. That is now our first piece of pipe ready to go. So, we line it up in the clips, slide it across until it meets the joint. We can now see the end of the socket. You now need to mark the pipe where it will join. You then need to remove the pipe from the clips again and cut the pipe where you marked it. clip the pipe back in, slide up to the join and meet them up. We will use a push-fit T and the drain off. If you need to drain off the pipe for any reason, then attach a hose to this point and turn the valve. You must try to keep the tap connector pipes as close to the wastage pipes as possible, keeping it nice and tidy. You need to measure from the wall to the line on the fitting. You must take off 10 mm because the back of the clip is 10 mm wide. You need to try and avoid soldering tight corners. Measuring from the right end, check it twice and then bend the pipe as shown before. Clip the newly bent pipe into the wall. Put your spirit level in line with where you want the pipes to come down.